It's been a minute. Have I been slacking on my duties? No. However, I hope you guys have been following along on TikTok. That's where we've been. But today, right now, we got to get into some stuff. Why is that? Because it's all about the love. It's all about the love. So we started off with live and direct, live on the set. That's what we got going on today. How are you?
Daddy, where's the lady?
She left. Go ask mommy. Go close the door. Go close the door.
Mommy, tell her what?
No, go talk to mommy. Go. I'll talk to you soon, okay? Go talk to mommy.
Can you open this? I want to play this game.
It's love. It's all about the love. Got a lot of kids. You gotta move back, boo boo.
Hello.
Yeah.
I'm taking
They can't really see you, but they can hear you. Here. Go show that to mommy. And close the door.
I need one more block.
I don't have one more for you, but go show mommy, okay? So it's all about the love, guys. Close the door.
Okay.
Thank you. So that's what it is. What do we deal with? We deal with live and direct, live on the set. Brought to you by Cast Their Crowns. So we talking about love today. There's so much talk about relationships. I'm trying to get ready to stream as well in another format. There's so much talk about relationships out here, but nobody's making mention of love. How can you discuss relationships but not discuss love? How do you have relationships without love? Everybody seems to be an expert. Everybody knows this. Everybody knows what women are looking for. Everybody knows what men are looking for, or so they claim. There's a lot of talk about what a real man is and how women aren't doing for this no more and they're not accepting that and women ain't this and men's problem is that we've decided that we're just not taking it anymore. Women want men to meet them where they're at. Where exactly is that? That's what I'd like to know. Where exactly are the women at that men need to meet them? What does that mean? Because if it is in a place called success, what's going on? Good to see you. If it's in a place called success, aren't men there? I thought wherever it is that women go to become successful, they find men there, right? And wherever men go to find success, they find women there, unless it's a particular space where women aren't really a part of it. But if women aren't a part of it, they're just not a part of it in a certain capacity, like let's say professional sports. Women are a part of professional sports, even male professional sports. They're not a part of the performance. They're not one of the performers as far as the athletic performers, but they're there. They're general managers, they're vice presidents of operations, they're presidents of operations, they're owners of teams, they're cheerleaders, and there's a plethora of departments that's a part of that organization. So where exactly is it that the successful women are at that the men are not at? Why would that infringe upon one having a relationship? Are there certain women on the planet who cannot have a relationship and be successful? Is it a trade-off? Why is it a trade-off? That's very odd to me. I think I'm going to change glasses. Why would it be a trade-off to go from a relationship to success? If I'm all up in you guys' face, pardon me. I don't get it. I don't understand that. You know, success has always been, people have always been successful. When did success be determined on if your relationship status? Is this one? Go with this tonight. Why not? Haven't worn these in a while. You know, so it seems like when people, what I'm really getting at, it seems like when people are not engaged in successful relationships, they come up with reasons as to why. And the reasons they come up as to why is they say that people don't like something about their success, which that's nonsense. Why would somebody be bothered by your success? Why would men be bothered by a successful woman? If a man is with a successful woman, will that only add to their success? Right? Wouldn't that add to the success of the relationship? That because you have a man that is successful and you have a woman that is successful, and then they have the success of one another. Why wouldn't that be a good thing? Who wouldn't want that? But there's always so much talk. I was on the live earlier today, and the prompt was, do men fear women's success? Which I said no, because I don't understand why a man would fear a woman's success where successful women are at. There are men there. So where is the evidence of the fear? And the host and one of the moderators, they were discussing, oh, well, there's a patriarchy and so on and so forth. That's really a bunch of stupid talk to me that really doesn't get anywhere from me, because you're speaking about the patriarchy, but then you're speaking about successful women. So if there is this regime of men who don't want women to be successful, they're successful women. So where is this idea that women's being successful are going to be something that men are going to be afraid of? Like, what? And what space would they share, meaning men and women, that the woman's success is going to replace men? It just doesn't happen. It just does not happen. Wherever it is that a woman is going to go and be educated, there's going to be men there. Wherever it is that a woman is going to go to start a career, there's going to be men there. Some of you may be saying, well, wait a minute, that's not true. You have every institution is not co-ed. Yeah. So either which way, there's probably a neighboring school or a sister school that is male dominated, that's very close to the female campus. What's good? Good to see you, man. Good to see you, cool kid. So the thing about it is that all of these things are what people are saying and doing, but it's always about disrupting the household, disrupting the bond, disrupting the unification between men and women. There's so many people that's all they spend their time talking about is things that's going to be hateful and destructive to men and women, because that's their success. That's the only area where they can operate in. They can only operate in that dysfunction. They cannot operate in health and wellness. The minute you start talking about things that's healthy, they come up with a whole bunch of excuses. And this is both men and women. They come up with a whole bunch of excuses as to why you cannot discuss it, why you shouldn't discuss it, and how unrealistic it is. I mean, are people dumb? How is it unrealistic to practice health and wellness in a relationship? It's so stupid. You have so many people keep saying, you need therapy, go to therapy, go to therapy. Well, y'all are telling all these people to go to therapy, but what's the point? Aren't you going to therapy to get better? So if you're saying that people are going to therapy and they're putting in the work, well, then wouldn't it be evident in the relationships of which they're involved in? Wouldn't you pick a relationship that's that's beneficial to you, and also you are benefiting it? Isn't that what it is that people would do? So with so much talk about therapy, they say it over the littlest thing. Like, you could just start talking about anything. You could talk about breakfast and somebody's going to say, you need to go to therapy. You need to be healed. First of all, you need to get healed first before you talk to me. Healed from what? Healed from what? What exactly is it that people need to be healed from? And everybody needs to be healed. What is it that everybody needs to be healed from? Because if we all need to be healed, that means we're all exposed to the same thing. If we go through our life needing to be healed, that means we've all been exposed to the same thing. And what is that same thing? What were we grown up accustomed to or a part of? So we're gonna try to get into that tonight. We're not gonna take too much time, but we're definitely gonna do that, and we're gonna discuss it because it needs to be discussed. Everybody else is getting up here talking a bunch of nonsense. They don't have any information to verify what it is that they're saying because they have no exposure to it. They're not familiar with it, you know? So the only thing they're familiar with is hate. That's why the only thing they're going to discuss is hateful rhetoric. Hateful rhetoric, and I kind of find it hard to believe that people are really like this because where are you going to go? And that's how you introduce yourself to people. Like, what setting is that appropriate in? But somehow, some way, when it comes to social media, when it comes to social media, that appears to be appropriate. And I don't see why. I don't see how that's appropriate. So, yeah, we here, live and direct, live on the set, using a couple of things here. We got some things going on. Gonna invite a few people. And that's what we doing. Oh, let me get my friend here. She better get on if she's available. So that's what we talking about, because everybody got something to say when it comes to relationships, but where is the love? How is it so much talk? What does love look like? How would you even know how to identify love? Right? If you're involved in all these relationships, Black, what's good, Black? Good to see you. People talking all this stuff about relationships, but isn't the relationship supposed to be based on love? Isn't it supposed to be predicated on love? Isn't that supposed to be the source of that? You also got forgiveness. Can you have a relationship without forgiveness? You also have understanding. Can you have a relationship without understanding? You're also supposed to have patience. Can you have a relationship without patience? Can somebody be successful in a relationship by being an impatient person? That's a question we should ask ourselves. So we broadcasting live tonight, streaming live tonight. Jamal, what's going on, Jamal? Good to see you. We streaming live on these TikTok blocks and these YouTube streets. And we want to know, what do you know about love? If you just want to sit back and listen, by all means, please do. We're not going to be up here too long. If you want to join the panel and get involved in this conversation, then yeah, most certainly do. But again, it all boils down to love. It's not just a song with, who is it, Rihanna and Future, Love, but it's something that truly makes the world go round, does it not? Don't people love one another everywhere? Or do they not? You know, does it seem to be more hate in the world today than actual love? Do people seem to hate one another more or love one another more? What do y'all think? Because the more I hear people speak, the more I hear is the opposite of love. I don't hear love. I hear a lot of hate. I hear a lot of confusion. I hear a lot of excuses. That's another thing of what it is that I hear too. A lot of excuses. Michael, good to see you. Michael, appreciate you joining. Lock the door for me, baby, when you step out, okay? I hear a lot of excuses because people like to justify bad behavior, and they justify their bad behavior by blaming everybody else. So when they don't have a relationship that turns out in, let's say, their best interest, supposedly, because they always make it seem like that's what they preferred, that's what they wanted. I wanted a bad relationship. I ended up like this by choice. Like, what kind of stupidness is that? That doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't to me. Because why would you be involved with another person and be involved with them when you didn't get involved with them by yourself? You know, it takes two people to be in a relationship. That's the only way it can work is if it's two people, because if it's you by yourself, that's not a relationship. So if it's another person, you and someone else, how is it all about you? You know, but that's what some people think. Some people think it's all about them. And you know that because you hear them speak. And when you hear them speak, all they have to talk about is themselves. They don't have anything else to say about someone else. But yet and still, they'll blame the failure of the relationship on someone else. But if you ask them to actually talk about how a relationship works, zero input. They have nothing to add to that conversation. If you ask them to tell you what it is that they require to be in a relationship, they have so much, so much. And then they'll even tell you that in my successful relationships, these are the things of what it is that I had. Now, my only question to such a thing would be if you have a successful relationship and you have an unsuccessful relationship, and both relationships had the same thing, meaning you, and whatever it is that you require in both, then how does that mean it's going to end up in a successful relationship? Because both relationships had the same thing. They had you. Both relationships had the same thing, whatever it is that you supposedly require, right? Where do you draw this hard line in the sand regarding relationships? I don't play around. This is what it is that I have. I have this. This is what it is. You got to meet me like this. If you're not like this, there's no conversation. No, it's just nonsense. Because people who are in a healthy relationship, they don't speak like that. They don't speak like that. They know relationships are based on compromise, they're based on love, they're based on understanding, they're based on forgiveness, they're based on compassion, right? These are all of the things that you need present in the relationship. So if you have somebody, appreciate the light, if you have somebody discussing relationships and they're not making mention of any of those things, they don't know what a healthy, successful relationship is. They have no idea. Because how can you discuss relationships and say, oh, it's about working? It's about finances. That's what you hear so many idiots say. If you don't have these finances, you shouldn't be looking to be in a relationship. What the hell is that? People come up with all sorts of conditions when it comes to relationships, and they never make mention of actually how you treat someone else. They never make mention of that. What's the point of being in a relationship if you're a hateful person? People say marriage isn't for everyone. That I wholeheartedly disagree. That's not even remotely true. But if you're a hateful person, you shouldn't be in a relationship. That's what you shouldn't be. You shouldn't be a hater. You shouldn't be a person that's easily angry, a person that turns into a monster just like that. That's the type of person that shouldn't be in a relationship. A person that's quick to curse everybody out, a person that'll come online and speak bad about their significant other. That's the type of person who needs to stop the nonsense, right? You need to just stop talking to people, period, because that's not good. There's a guy on here, I call him Pubic Offender. He's on it. Well, this is YouTube. This is TikTok, just so you know. But nevertheless, on TikTok, the Pubic Offender, he speaks a lot about men's accountability and things like that, which he doesn't really say anything about accountability, because when he speaks to himself, He speaks to himself as being taken advantage of and called out of his name by his wife. So, how are you going to be a person that's going to help people establish respect and love and healthy relationships if you yourself are the coach for these people, but yet you're telling them that you get cursed out and called out of your name by your own wife? You're normalizing that behavior. And that's what it is that you are trying to influence others to receive. When no, that's not good at all. That's actually extremely bad. That's actually terrible. That's horrible, right? So it's all of these talks about relationships, but where is the actual goodness of it? It takes a lot of perseverance to make it through a relationship, right? A lot of commitment. You've got to make it through, because how can you be an adult of an adult age and be in a relationship for 2 months? There's middle schoolers who are in relationships longer than many adults nowadays. Somebody in seventh grade can be in a relationship for the entire grade, and you as an adult can't be in a relationship for 6 months, and you think that's someone else's fault, that you've never had a relationship last longer than 6 months. 6 months. That's what, 2 semesters of school? You've never had a relationship last longer than 6 months, and you want to get on here and start cursing people out and disallowing them to speak because you think you are the arbiter or the oracle of relationships? It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. You think that you are the one to be telling somebody about a relationship? Really? How and why? Why? Like, where? Why? I mean, is there no such thing as credentials anymore? Is there no such thing as understanding anymore? Are we just looking for advice from anybody with a phone in your hand? Is that all it truly takes? Just have a phone. If you have a phone, you can tell me what to do about a relationship. I'll get advice from you because you got a phone. You got a phone with a forward facing camera. Okay, you can help me. Really? That's really all it is? That's low standards. And then it's no surprise why we got a lot of problems. No surprise why we have a lot of problems and why we have a lot of difficulty. Willie, what's going on? Willie, good to see you. Willie Holmes, right? Because we're getting advice, we're getting encouragement, we're being influenced from the wrong places, the wrong individuals, people who do not care for the betterment of others. They do not care about a community. Neither are they trying to build or lift up a community. You can't be involved with community building when all you're looking for is to either A, tear down a community, or B, take advantage of the brokenness of the community. And that happens a lot when they talk about the programs and the institutions and the benefits, the things that's set up, right? How do you qualify? All of those things are not for the enrichment of a community. All of those things are to see a problem, don't identify it as a real problem, just leave it be, but see how you can benefit from it. How can I benefit from their dysfunction or their pain? How can I capitalize off of their pain? In other words, exploitation. That's what it is. How do I capitalize off of their pain? I'll exploit them. I'll heighten their sense of fear. I'll get them to believe that every man in their circumference is a threat to them. Even though that woman went to school that day, she went to work that day, she went to the mall that day, she came home that day, and that's the fifth time she's done it that week. She drove in traffic, she drove down the interstate. There was a man in the car in front of her, a man in the car behind her, a man to the car on the left of her, a woman and his man in the car to the right of her, a man 2 cars behind her, a woman 2 cars in front of her. Like, people are surrounded by people everywhere they go. And yet they'll get here on the internet and they'll make it seem like they can't do anything. They can't look left without being in fear. They can't look right without being in fear. They can't look straight ahead without being in fear because the big bad man is going to get them. And then guess what? These people are in relationships. So how are all of these women in so many relationships, but yet they're having such difficulty with men? How are men a threat to you, but yet you're involved in relationships with them intimately? How does that work? How are you in an intimate relationship with somebody who harms you? Somebody who you don't even know. That's what you're saying. What's going on? City of what's that? City of Angels?
Yes, what's going on, brother? How you?
Everything is cool, man. You got anything on the topic? What we getting into tonight?
Excuse me, ignorance, but what was the topic? I think it was about love.
Yes, sir. What do you know about love?
Well, this might sound kind of macabre, but to some extent, I don't think it's real.
Explain. I'm listening.
Meaning that I feel like it's like feelings aren't real to me. Like, I'm not talking down to them. I know their reactions to me to good or bad feelings. You know, you could love something. You know, like, it's a general sense of, like, if somebody let's say somebody save you from an accident, you
Right.
could love them for that.
So is that love or
But there, you
appreciation?
may not have had that feeling for them. No, I feel like it's a reaction. So I don't personally have. I don't know how to classify it personally.
I think I get what you're saying.
But I feel like these things do exist because, like, people put like names on these feelings, like hate, jealousy, and what have you, But these are all natural human instincts, I mean, like, for example, I've been in my life where I had that what people will call love for another, for the opposite gender. So I'm not gonna sit here and say, like, I'm not being negative. I'm just giving you my opinion of why I think it is.
That's fine. So let me make sure. I want to make sure I comprehend what you're saying. So you're saying basically it has to be prompted from someone else. People are responding to some form of interaction or incident or like an action
it's
of
a
someone else.
response. Like if you live on an island by
Right.
yourself, like, what's that movie with Tom Hanks, Castaway? If he's on an island like that,
Yeah.
you're probably gonna have more negative feelings because of being there, turmoil, demise, and the whole nine.
Yeah.
But in order to come, like, for example, my niece is my pride and is my world. So I feel that when I see her, because that's what she brings to me. But when I don't see that little face, it doesn't brighten up my day. But it's different when I see her. So it's like, to me, it's a reaction, in my opinion.
But you don't love her even if you don't see her, or you don't feel that same way
I'm saying,
even if you don't see
I
her.
do. I'm saying it's like, wouldn't have had that feeling. So it's like, just calling on FaceTime and seeing her. She always gonna. I'm smiling right now just talking about her.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't know if anybody really can define concrete what love actually is, but if you love somebody, I believe love can exist anywhere. If people want to give it a definition, but if you love somebody,
Okay.
you have to be able to protect them. You know, you have to be able to look out for them. You have to take care of them. You have to. A lot of people wouldn't go through the proper channels, like the relationship my grandparents had. That was genuine, you know, and like a lot of that type of love from the older days, like with our grandparents,
Yeah.
that doesn't exist anymore. And
Okay. I
you
can
don't
I
see
can
that
I
type
can get
of
with that a little bit, but
feeling.
let me ask you this though. So the feeling that you're
Talk to
saying
me.
that we would have for someone else, do you have that feeling for yourself?
Me, like
That
love,
caring feeling, that care, the way how you care for someone else, do you feel that way about yourself?
most of the time, no,
Why is that?
because it's. And again, I'm not. I'm just giving my own personal opinion. I mean, I get up and I go take care of my business, like
Mm-hmm.
literally, like my business. I do everything I have to do because I have to. And it's because I have things I got to do, like my house, my farm, everything got to be taken care of. So my feeling of myself, whether I like or I dislike myself, to me, my own personal view of myself, I find it irrelevant. It doesn't matter how I feel about myself because
So
I'm gonna get up and do what I have to do, regardless of how I feel about myself. Like
if
example.
you disliked yourself, do you think you would be able to care for and have affection towards someone else if you disliked yourself?
Could I have an affection?
Yeah.
Possibly. I mean, I don't really know 100%. I mean, I have somebody in my life, and we've been together for like what? All peaches and cream. We had ups and downs, but as far as the most part, we're both very happy.
Right.
I mean, I don't have a negative view of myself. I just don't. I don't look at I don't assess myself with feelings like, how do I feel about myself? How do I feel about my parents? I make sure when I go into the world, I'm very well mannered, very well dressed, good hygiene, and I take care of myself very well. And again, that makes me feel good about myself because I
That
take care of
sounds like
myself in
love
a way
though.
that I feel that we all should.
That sounds like love, like self
Excuse
care.
me?
That sounds like love, like self care. That's what that sounds like.
Okay. Well, I mean, like I said, I mean, if that's your view of it,
Yeah.
hey, like I said, much love to that. Like I said,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not trying to be negative. I'm not here to be negative and
I
nothing
don't have
like
a
that.
problem with you saying what
I'm
you're
just
saying. It's a public
so like no.
conversation.
I mean, a lot of times, like no, like a lot of times when I try to have this conversation with people, like even in my circle of friends, they're like, "Oh, why are you being so negative for it?" And I'm like, "I'm not being negative. I'm a
Yeah.
very happy man. Like most of the time, I'm not bothered by much because I don't. I'm not. I don't sweat. I don't complain about things that I can't change.
Right.
Like don't cry or spill milk.
Right, right, right.
I don't believe in like I know hate exists. I don't particularly care for it. I don't think people can have racist tendencies. I don't really care for it. I mean, I just go on with my
Right.
life. I just focus on what's important in my life.
Hmm.
Everything else could be that's their business.
Right, right, right. No, I definitely got you. So, do you engage in any? Because I feel like I might have seen you around before on a panel or two, but do you engage in any conversations about relationships?
No, because most of the time, I mean, no, no, let me stop. I was on one yesterday, and it was more very open ended. But most of the ones I've gone on, it's like they like to dig and prod for personal. I don't put my information out there.
Yeah.
Like there's no real pictures of me on like even on my social media. I don't post pictures of me. That's not really my idea of. I like a personal life. I like my relationship personal. That's me. And the people who
Hmm.
know me that hang out with me would know who I'm with. But for the rest of the world, that's none of their business.
Right.
But the lives I've been on, most of them have been on where they like to poke and prod. And once I start seeing that, I just say, have a good day, and I just leave the conversation before it gets negative. And I don't want to be negative because then I become a real a hole. You
Right,
know.
right, right, right. No, I mean it's good to protect and preserve what it is that you have, and keep it away from the public because the public is looking to destroy. You know what I mean? They're looking to basically to tear apart. They don't want to hear about anything that is good or positive. So if you present anything like that, they're going to try to find means on how to break that down and tear it apart and speak as if they've known you for the previous 80 years in your life. And people who you're involved in a relationship with, they'll act as if they know them or if they care about them, you know? So it's a bunch of
And the funny
nonsense.
thing is, like, when people, and my biggest thing with relationships is like, listen, like you're. This might sound kind of strange, but your age you are now, you're not the same person you were like 10 years ago.
Very
You're not the
true.
same person you was 20 years ago. You're not the same person when you was 18. People
Mm-hmm.
grow and change. But unfortunately, whenever like when we first got together, people when they see us, oh, you remember when you did this? Oh, he was a wild ass cat back in. I'm like, but that was then. I mean, I'm a whole different person now.
Right.
Like that's why I don't hang out with like most of I don't hang out with much people because I'm not that person anymore, and I don't want to be constantly reminded about that person.
Correct. Correct.
So
No,
that's
that's
the real
true.
reason why I personally like my privacy because again, like people who know me, my basic foundation. Again, this might sound kind of not trying to come off as ignorant, but somebody told me this was said by DMX, and I'm pretty sure it was or it was not. I don't know. He said once you, as an artist, once you step outside your house, you belong to the world to criticize. The world is going to criticize you as soon as you step outside your house. And I took that to heart because I don't know if he said it or not, but I love the quote.
Yeah.
But people will always they have a knack to just want to be in they just want to be in everybody's business. And if like even at my job,
That's
even
true.
when I used to work a job, like I don't talk much to people, but bother them because I'm not giving them information. I'm not participating in the drama. And I'm like because what comes of that?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah. No, no,
You
no, no.
know,
I,
like
I gotta agree with that. I gotta agree with that. I gotta agree
but
with
yeah,
that.
like I said, a lot of people. But like I said, if people like you can love people, like the love you have,
Mm-hmm.
like I always joke around, like a love between a man and a woman, or a love between a man and a fine Cuban cigar, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it's really to me, it's a feeling that I would say that I feel I know exists, but I don't feel like, but it's a reaction.
Right.
Like I love my niece. That's my pride. Anything happened to her, I'm probably going to go to war with the entire planet
Right.
by myself, and I really wouldn't care. But like so I believe it exists, and I know I have that feeling
Mm-hmm.
or that reaction. But that's what I said. But feelings are reactions to something that's prompting it, or something that's they're faced with, like fear. Fear
Mm-hmm.
only to me, fear doesn't exist because it's fear is things you can't control. As a kid, I was scared of a nightlight, and then when I got of the dark, and when my uncle gave me a nightlight, I wasn't afraid no more. I control the darkness, so it's
True. I
like
mean, but in all
that's why I said
instances, you
there.
can't control the
That's why I don't look.
darkness.
Well, you turn the light on, it's not dark no more.
Not
You
if you're
turn it
outside.
off, it's dark again.
If you're outside,
That's what I meant.
I mean, but if
Oh,
you're
if you're outside,
outside, your
then
car breaks down and you're on the highway or on a country road and it's dark.
oh, then your fear it comes back in.
True.
It creeps back in. Like I mean, when I was a kid, I was afraid of the dark. I was afraid of these movies like The Exorcist and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They scared the bejesus out of me. But then again,
Yeah.
I got older. Like my uncle was in the Marines, E7, and when I was like, there's a monster under my bed, he gave me some kind of a rod, and go fight him.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't tolerate that, so he made us face our fear. So then once you faced him, I guess the old adage that if it was someone's bullying you, you stand up to them, they stop.
Hmm.
That doesn't always work. So I try to confront most things that I want to do. What's the worst that can happen? If you're afraid of it, do it. If you're afraid
Yeah.
of it, keep doing it.
Yeah.
Until
Well,
you get better.
I agree with that because I'm not in favor of, especially with parents. I take it you're not a parent, but I don't like when parents pass down their fear onto their children. You can have experiences, you can have things
Oh,
that you went through that, you may be a little bit sensitive towards those things, but you can't instill fear or act as if your children should be afraid of those very same things that might have gotten you. You got what I'm saying? Because you're limiting them. You're purposely holding them back, and as opposed to what you said your uncle, I believe your uncle did, which is for to encourage you to see that obstacle and then try to meet it head on.
like my parents would, they tell me everything that went on when I was a kid. Like I said, because I'm from Tampa City, LA.
Yeah.
So when I was growing up, I didn't know the environment I was in when I was like 1 or 2 years old.
Yeah.
As I got older, I thought they were just being uncool parents to keep me in the house.
Right.
And then one day she said, my uncle said, you know what? Go outside. You're a big man. I'm 14. You know, got a little chest hair. Go outside. I said, say no more.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was outside for like 10 minutes and I came back in the house.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. How far were you from the house?
Oh, I walked halfway down the block and came back. I was like, and he was like, that's the world we're trying to prevent you from seeing.
Oh yeah.
Because my uncle, when he got out of the army, he said, this world is an ugly place. If you don't get to it, if you don't know it, if you don't master its ugliness when you're a kid, you're never going to survive when it's old. The key is understanding and understanding how bad the world is.
Yeah.
And accepting that it's bad, so you can maneuver around it. To make me feel like it's a bad place and you're not going to survive. No, it's there. Just you have to accept it. If you know where there's danger, at least you have a better chance to prepare for it.
Yeah. Yeah. No. I actually like that. I like that a lot. I really appreciate that because those are my sentiments exactly. You know, I'm a person of challenge. So when things get difficult, I have to think back to, wait a minute, there was something else that was difficult before this. Right? So how did I get through and past that prior difficulty? There's no way I could have gotten past it by either being afraid or worrying or things like that. Now, obviously, I'm a human. I'm not a cyborg. I'm going to have feelings, but I have to check those feelings and make sure I utilize them appropriately. You got what I'm saying? Because if I allow certain feelings to overtake my judgment, then I'm going to be making a lot more mistakes. You're not going to get anywhere by panicking. And you panic a lot typically from ignorance.
Nah, man, that's respectable. You know, but it's like it's great to know like when I was growing up. See, when I got older now, you see what I teach my niece and my nephew is like I don't teach them to be fearful of things.
Right.
I want them to understand. Like, if like let's say for example, like when I was a kid, like when my grandfather went into the hospital, and my general idea of hospitals is you go into the hospital, you get better, you come out.
Right.
But then when he didn't come out, you know, I was like, I didn't understand that. That was back in the early '90s, I believe. And then I started to look into everything that I could possibly get my hands on.
Right.
But you don't, like I said, did you ever see A Bronx Tale?
Yep.
Remember when he was like, "Is it better to be loved or feared?" That was a powerful conversation that I always showed to my nephew. Like, you know, this is what I'm saying. Like, you know, you could be a happy person, but you have to understand something. You can't, but you should never live your life in fear. You should never listen. Like, you live your life like you have 50 days left. And then like half your mindset should be lived like you got 50 days, and the other half of your mind should be lived like you have 50 years left.
Right.
You know, don't go places. You don't go places where you want to be found unalive. Like you don't want to be you don't want to be found, you know, side of the road drunk. You know, you get by. You know, you want to be seen in a good way, if that makes any sense.
Right. No,
like
I
doing
get
a
it.
good thing.
I get it. And
You know,
to
but
me, going off of that, it seems like you'd appreciate your life more and you'd appreciate the value of decision making. What you're going to do, how you're going to do it, the presentation like you were getting at, because you put more thought into it, you know? You put more thought and more care into your actions.
Like, listen, like I tell everybody, like you have one shot at this life. You know, there's no continues. There's no save points. You know, there's no returns. There's no infinite lives. You know, you have one shot at every day you have one shot at it. Like today, I had one shot to do something. Once tomorrow comes, today is gone.
Right.
You live every day, and like I said, I lived a very bad life. Okay, I've done a lot of things I'm not proud of, and it put me in a lot of places that I deserve to be because I chose to do the things that put me there.
Correct.
So when I'm out now, I look at life completely different. Like I would never want to go back. And like, trust me, going to my mailbox is a huge. Putting my feet up on my table,
Yeah.
huge blessing.
Yeah.
Eating what I want is a huge blessing. But like I said, it's just you have to. I can't say it here, but if you can read between the lines, unless you've seen and been in that particular box,
Right.
you wouldn't have. You have an appreciation of life, but it's a different appreciation that I have. You know.
No, I'm reading it with
You know,
the
but it's
print,
like I
large
said-
letters. I'm reading it with the print with large letters. I know what you're talking about.
So yeah, so like I said, you come outside, like that's why I live every day. And I most of my life I go on like I don't say much because a lot of them do wonderful lives. There's a handful of them I'm like I just passed. And I went when I was listening to you talk, and I'm like, yeah, this seems cool, seems decent. Let me just jump on, say hello.
Well, I definitely appreciate that, man. Definitely do. Yeah. That's the thing, That's the thing because again, what you're getting at, that information and ignorance. To be informed and to be ignorant are two powerful things. When you're informed, it's so you can make the most difficult thing in the world look like the easiest thing in the world. And then when people are ignorant, they see a person doing it and they think, oh, that's easy, I can do that. But they don't know how much actual information you possess. They don't know the work to collect and gather that information. They don't know the trial and error that you had to go through to actually be able to do something with such confidence. But to be ignorant when you're surrounded by a bunch of foolishness, they reward ignorance. And I'm not talking about ignorance in the sense of just simply not knowing. I'm talking about ignorant in the sense of acting as if you don't know, and what you do know is destructive as hell. You know what I mean? And that's all you keep talking about.
It's like when you know that, like everything that I know, like I always feel like my cousin who lives in the UK always tells me, like when I went to go meet him, he has a little mini castle out there.
Yeah.
Because most of the ones who are well off, they buy castles. I don't know why, but whatever. And I asked him, give me one. When I was 18, when I was like 19 or so, I said, give me some advice that that can help me get to where you're at.
Yeah.
He said, own a library that's worth more than your weight in gold. You do that. You own that, and you know everything inside that library. Nobody can ever stop you. So it's like with me, is every chance I get, I go to Barnes Nobles, I go to the library, pick a free book, and I try to read them, and I continue because it's education. But again, that's why most of the time I keep my mouth shut when I was at work, when I'm around, because I don't like to let people know what I know.
Mm-hmm.
I like them to think that I'm very stupid.
Yeah.
And then when I speak to them, then the look of their face is priceless.
You remember MTV Cribs? You remember the show MTV Cribs?
Huh?
MTV Cribs.
Yes.
You ever remember that show? You ever notice how in that show you didn't even see one bookshelf?
Yep. And most of those houses were rented, except for Redman, by the way.
Yeah. Stepping over his uncle.
He's the only.
Laying on the floor.
He's the only one that kept it. Yeah, he's the only one that kept. The two things that I can relate to was his money box and his bread warmer. That was it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right.
But he said no. He kept it. That's why I respect him. He kept it 100.
Yeah, they wanted him to
like
get the rented spot, and he said no.
He's like, all right. He's like, I got a house for you. Went right to. I think that was in Newark. I want to say Newark, New Jersey.
I think so.
And he just was like, and he just showed him, and it was good though. But a lot of people, like when it comes to like ignorance and knowledge, the ones with knowledge, it goes back to this old Talib Kweli song that I know of. Oh my God, I think it's off the song Quality. So the song is called "The Proud," I believe.
Uh-huh.
When he was like, they make knowledge. Hold up. ninjas with knowledge are more dangerous than ninjas with guns. They make the guns easy to get to keep ninjas dumb.
Yeah.
And it's like
Yeah.
it's amazing. Like with a lot of these rappers, like from the old school, that was back in 2005. The album came out,
Yeah.
and it's like, but see, that probably went over a lot of people's heads.
His mother had a
Like,
bookstore.
huh?
His mother had a bookstore. You said Kweli, right? Talib Kweli?
Talib
Yeah.
Kweli.
His mother had a bookstore.
Well, nice. See, I didn't know that.
Right. Yeah. I've actually shopped in it before. So but that foundation, you see how it plays out in him. You got what
Well,
I'm
yeah,
saying?
that's what I'm saying. Like knowledge is important, but
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, when you look at the generational, like the shows I had again, I'm not gonna assume your age, but when I was a kid, the television show we had were a lot different and taught unity. Like, and again, as much clowning that they did, the Fresh Prince of Bel Air, they taught us a lot about what goes on in the world between everything. Like the
Correct.
episode where Carlton didn't get accepted by the fraternity, and then it's like again from different strokes. Almost all these shows, etc., had a lot of undertones that were knowledgeable and taught to my perspective that they were positive.
Right.
Even down to our cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
They were, to me, even when I go back and look at them, most of them are harmless, like the Magic School Bus.
Right.
Like look how much things people know because of that cartoon.
Yeah.
Like
a lot of life
of
lessons.
the world countries. Yeah. But like I said, but I gotta get out of here, brother. It's been good talking to you. I appreciate the conversation. I just followed you. If I ever see you live, if you're on live again, I'll jump back on.
Definitely appreciate you, man. Appreciate your time. Getting out of here soon as well.
All right, brother. You too.
Yeah, you be good, man.
All right, brother. Well, you have a wonderful day, brother.
Thank you. You too, man.
right,
City
peace.
of Angels, definitely. City of Angels. Appreciate that for coming on once again. We talking about love. We got into a whole bunch of stuff right there. Brother was expressing that he himself feels love is more so of a reaction, something that has to be prompted or, triggered within you from someone else. So it comes from a feeling. Everything he said, I don't agree with. Everything he said, I don't disagree with. I don't come into a public space to agree wholeheartedly and to disagree wholeheartedly. Why is that? Because this is a public space. I am a civil person. That's called civility. And when you have information, you should be confident in your information and you should be able to engage in some form of dialogue and share your information with one another. When you're dealing with those ignorant spaces, the information of what they have, which is very little, is very shallow, is very, very, very shallow. So that's why whenever they feel challenged by what it is that you're saying, meaning whatever it is that their prompt is saying, or whatever it is that they think they know, whatever statistic they're going to use, which I'll tell y'all something about statistics in a quick moment, but whatever statistic they think they're going to use, if you're not subject to those things, like those things don't put you in a box that you can't get out of, then they're going to try to overpower you. That's when all of the muting of you comes from and over talking you, because they're afraid you're going to say something that they just can't respond to. They just don't have a response for whatever it is you're going to say. You're going to trap them up. So you can't be in the audience before 50, 100, potentially thousands of millions of people somewhere down the line, and they look foolish in front of you. So I appreciate what it was that he was saying, and I can find a commonality in what he was saying. So here is the thing about the statistics. Let's start with the people who like to use certain things. So they'll say, look it up. What's your source? I mean, that is so unrealistic because that's not how people live life. People do not live life at every turn based off of the source. You go to a restaurant, sit down at the restaurant, look at the menu. You don't care what that stuff is. You'll just order it. You're not concerned with the source. And you're putting that in your body. You're not even concerned with the preparation. You're not concerned with how it's farmed. You're not concerned with the temperature of what it was cooked at. You're not concerned with who's wearing gloves in the kitchen. And this is your life, right? You can't put toxins in your body and expect to have a healthy life. Putting the wrong things in your body can bring your body to an end instantly. If it is the absolute worst thing you can put in your body at that moment in time, that can be it. So, all of this stuff, what's your source? A lot of this foolishness is to try to minimize what it is that you're saying, try to trivialize it. Oh, you don't really have anything to say. What's your source? What's my source? And then they'll say Google. Google's not a source. Google's a search engine. And so many of these people dealing with something that artificial intelligence gives them. Artificial intelligence to make up for your lack of intelligence, so then you fill that void with artificial intelligence. You don't rely on a study unless the person who collected that data is a credible source. If your source is something artificial, how is it credible to you? Where are they getting that from? Are they getting that from just articles that were written? Because articles are opinionated. So is that where they're getting it from? Politics plays a major account in what's going on, my guy. Politics plays a major account in the way of how people view things. The words that people use, politics plays a major role in that. Even the way of how people define things, how people identify things, based on the political climate at that time, that's going to determine which way they sway. That is the everybody, the masses, the people that's easily the gullible, the controllable. That's not the people who have identity and who stand firm. That's not the people who are rooted in good ground. That's not the individuals who are highly educated and have put in their source of information up against the test and have ended up with flawless victories. That's not them. The ones who don't know, who are unsure, maybe they have an emotional attachment to whatever it is that they say or supposedly believe. That's everybody. That's the crowd. That's the masses, as they say. So those type of individuals are easily persuaded. But it's got to be things that can appear to everyone. It's obtainable to everyone. Emotions. We all have emotions. We all don't have intellect, but we all have emotions. Intellect would be the collection of information and has now been put to good use. So, but everybody has the base foundation of themselves. Everybody has a past. Majority of us as people, our past wasn't the best. We've gone through the ups and downs of living life. We've made mistakes. We've done wrong. We've hurt people and people have hurt us. So I can find anywhere amongst all of that right there and get to you. But most people don't speak before everyone and say, you know what? Yeah, I did do wrong. I did do things. The brother City of Angels did it. It's actually a few men that I've seen do it or heard say that, but it's no women who I've heard actually say that. Now, he didn't say it necessarily in the relationship space, but what he did do was acknowledge it, right? But everybody, when they go before everyone, when they speak, they'll make it seem like they're just this angelic being and they've never done anything wrong. And they just sit there. There's another moron on here, and he's going to act as if men just do everything wrong. That's all they do. From the moment they wake up to the moment they go to sleep. And when they go to sleep, they're dreaming about how they can do wrong to someone. What kind of stupidness is that? There's people who do wrong. There's people who do right. There's people who do right, wrong, right. There's people who do wrong, right, back to wrong. That's the human experience. It's trial and error. So if you don't have the necessary information with the conviction behind the information, yeah, go ahead, ask your question, sir. If you don't have the necessary information, right, to back yourself up for you to rely on, you're just going to make decisions in life based off of how life presents itself to you. So if you feel there is this pressure in society to start saying this, start saying that, then you'll start saying this and you'll start saying that. Question from City of Angels on TikTok, because we're on YouTube and TikTok right now. How do you get the lives that people can request up? Okay, so it should be when you're in your setup for the live. This is for TikTok use. It should be when you're at the setup for the live where you have like the background and you have settings, the device camera and stuff. You should select settings on one of those. You gotta, as they would say, play with it, as funny as it sounds. But you gotta go through that and then you'll find how you can select. And then when you go through the selections, I think like one is sports and things like that. Yeah, I know. I think I think one is sports, like beauty and care or something like that. But when you go down, I believe it says multi-guest. And then that should be it. Sometimes I've done it and then somebody told me I was in the gaming section. So I'm like, why am I in the gaming section? I don't know. So people get on to try to challenge me, and I'm like, I don't even know what y'all are doing right now. So I just drop them. Yeah, no problem at all, man. So I think you should find it that way. So again, the information, what you have, should be fact-based. If your information is fact-based, then that's the space of which you come from. You speak from a space of authority. You don't speak from a space of just combativeness or debate. Because why would you debate the truth? Like, the truth is undebatable. Whether somebody accepts it or not, it's not going to change what it is. So again, because we only wanted to be up here for about an hour this lovely evening. We got other affairs to tend to, which we got to get to. So we want to leave you guys with a few things. We've been on a little over an hour on YouTube. I think a little under an hour on TikTok because we got started before on YouTube. It's been a while. I got to get back to doing these lives on YT. We had a good flow going over there, but I paused. I paused. I held up, but it's time to get back. It's time to get back on track. It's time to get 100 miles running. We've did simulcast before, streamed on YouTube and streamed on TikTok, like what we're doing right now. So we're going to go back to that too. TikTok, you got to use certain language. And I really need to look into that myself. Like, is that really true? Or is that something that somebody said some time ago and they've just been passing it down? You got to say YT. You can't say white. What is that? I mean, that's ridiculous. You shouldn't be a hateful person on here, but I see a lot of hate on here, especially towards one another. That's what I see. I see a lot of hate. So I don't get how that's tolerated or permitted, how you can be so hateful against your own. And I don't know why people engage in that, because you know very well if you were to speak against someone else like that, so hateful in nature, they wouldn't tolerate that from you. I don't know if he's still on here. City of Angels, let me know if he's still on here, because I could use another device and try to show it to you. But with that being said, that's the reason why love is so important, right? It is important that you pass that down, You nurture that and you protect it. Not only the ones who you feel that way about, but you yourself. And that's what you look for in a relationship. In a relationship, you should be looking to treat someone a certain way. Relationships are not about you, relationships are about the other person. That's the successful tactic to have a good, healthy relationship. Have concern, consideration, and attention on the other one, and let them have that on you. That's how you do good, by actually doing good. Treat them right. Treat them with love. Treat them with respect. Treat them with honor. Treat them and deal with them with forgiveness. Don't degrade them. Don't put them down. Don't do that. Have a disagreement and understand that that individual is worth so much more than the wrong that they might have done. Right? So don't get involved in the things that's negative and destructive. Always have in mind that you're in a relationship with someone and who that particular person is. That's the greatest thing you can experience on the planet Earth, is that love between a man and a woman. There's nothing greater than that. That is the greatest relationship on the entire planet Earth. Greater than brother and brother, greater than sister and brother, greater than sister and sister, greater than father and son, mother and daughter, mother and son, father and daughter. The greatest relationships of them all, in my opinion, is that between a man and a woman. There's nothing like it. So that feeling, you have to take care of it. If you're corrupting that feeling that's shared between a man and a woman, why are you out here speaking to that feeling? But really and truly, you're not speaking to that feeling. You're avoiding it. You're just speaking to hate. But why are you guys out there accepting it? Why are y'all raising your hand and want to engage in the conversation of hate? Why are you adding more hate fuel to the fire? For what? And then you want to complain? What's there to complain about? You're part of the problem. You're part of that destructive element in the community, because it's alive and well within you. You're not looking to be like, nah, separate yourself from that. You're looking to hold on to it and never let it go. So we reached our time for this evening. We definitely appreciate City of Angels for getting on here. We definitely appreciate the boss for getting on here. YouTube, look forward to seeing me much more often. This video will post on there in case by chance you didn't get it. It's all good. It happens. So on YouTube, we got it out there. What you know about love, what's love all about. TikTok, we on there as well. And you see what it says up there? All because two people fell in love. Two people fell in love, husband and wife, man and a woman. They fall in love with one another, and you know what happens as a result of that? Happiness, love, heartache, victory, perseverance, children, which leads to more love, perseverance, faith, victory, accomplishment, war, right? All of these things stem from two people falling in love. It's an amazing thing. It's an amazing thing, but so many of us miss out on it because we're focused on all the wrong things and we don't appreciate it. We don't honor it. We don't honor that feeling that ultimately God gave us, because God is love. He's many things, but he most certainly said he's love. So how could you be so much against love and claim to be all about God? So definitely appreciate all of you guys. Appreciate y'all for your time. Appreciate y'all that came up. Appreciate y'all for the comments, for the likes, for the follow. Appreciate y'all that was watching from far away. No need to be bothered by nothing. Come on up. We engage in conversation. You're not going to offend me. If something you say is offensive, I will correct it. I will check it. But we can engage in a dialogue. It's not a problem for me. All right. So this is a civil place. And that's how we must conduct ourselves in such civility. So appreciate all of you guys for rocking with us. Catch y'all the next time. You're getting on too late. Mary, it's good to see you, but we out of here, girl. YouTube, appreciate you. We out of here.